Hi, I'm Jarrett Frazier here with TV62, interviewing Gloria Bigelow. She's here to perform with Burnham and a couple other artists on Wednesday, October 26th. So Gloria, glad that you're here with us. What do you think of the area so far?
Well, thanks for having me. It's beautiful. I came at the right time. I was driving up here. I drove up from Atlanta with my big brother, and just driving through the mountains and the whole fall foliage thing that was going on was like miraculous. And they act like fall only happens like in the Northeast, but come to find out, it happens in North Carolina too. Who knew?
Now, when did you start doing comedy?
I'm pretty young in comedy. I've only been doing comedy for 4 years, but I've just been really fortunate, and people have been really wonderful about pushing me along and supporting me in my career. So I'm like just a little over 4 years old as a comic.
Now, only 4 years. What sparked that interest into it?
You know, when I first moved to New York, I went to graduate school for acting and became like a classically trained actor, and I was going to, go do Shakespeare and all that jazz. And I was at a party in Harlem, like probably my first week or so in New York, and I was talking to this woman, and she said to me, we were just talking about life. She's like, "Oh, you ought to do stand-up." And I was like, no, I'm an actor, I'm classically trained Shakespeare. I do things like, I was fabulous. And she's like, well, you should think about it. And I said, well, I don't even know where to begin with that. She said, just write down your ideas about stuff. And so I was temping someplace, when you're temping, you're not really working anyway, so you're sitting behind a computer doing your own stuff, which is what most actors do in New York. So I was sitting there, and I just started writing down my ideas, and then I did nothing with it. And then about 2 years later, I decided to give it a try, and I went up. I lied my way into the Improv in New York, and a guy that was the manager happened to be there named Morty, because all the managers at comedy clubs are named Morty. And he said to me, "You have something, I'm going to help you." And so he just started putting me on the stage at the Improv, letting me MC, giving me stage time, and it's kind of what happened. Morty.
It's one of those kind of lucky stories.
It's one of those stories, yeah.
Well, over that 4 years, what's been some of those big moments that you've really enjoyed, that's kind of caught your eye?
I would say the first big moment was probably just being at the Improv and getting laughs. Now, true, I did pack the audience with my friends because I'm no dummy, but there were people who were laughing that weren't my friends. And just once you get that kind of like initial, people are laughing at me, like, it's very addictive. So like once you get it once, you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So that was a big deal. And then the first television special I did called Laughing Matters Next Gen featured 6 up-and-coming comics around the country. So the director of this had been scouting talent like all over, like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, going everywhere. People were sending in CDs and DVDs, trying to get on this show, and she cast me in it, and it was one of those times where, like, I was so nervous, and they weren't thinking of me as, like, the person that's going to kill it that night. They're, like, she's a rookie, she's been doing it at this point maybe 2 years, she's, we'll see, she'll do. And it was one of those times where you're really happy that you show up for yourself, so I was so present, and it was probably one of the best shows I'd given. And so just having that be, like, an experience where you're being taped and then it toured festivals, and then it was airing on Logo. And so just having that be like my first television special, be something that I personally felt like, oh wow, I killed, comics love to kill, but I just, like, when I walked off, I was like, who got that? You know what I mean? Like, it was that feeling. So yeah, those are a couple highlights.
Okay. What would you say to people aspiring to be comedians or actors?
I'd say you have to follow your heart. I mean, that's the corniest thing and the most, like, Oprah life class thing you could say, but it's honestly what I feel, because when I'm performing, I'm probably the best version of myself. I'm happiest, I feel like I'm the smartest, I'm like, oh, my hair looks better. It's just like, it's the best version of me. So I feel like if you have a passion for something, whether it's like working with kids, or if it's stand-up, or if it's, television, film, or being a sportscaster, whatever it is, I feel like you have to do it. Like, you just, because that joy, I think joy begets joy. So I feel like you do it, and then more joyful things will come from it.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to say to inspire people to come tonight, or? Yeah,
well, come on. What else are you doing? Studying? Come on to the show. It's going to be a great show. There's a great lineup, and you're why we're here. So come on.
No spot in which to be caught.
Have you been doing paint or something?
Oh, this is, there was a marker. There was a white marker that I shook up because I thought it was a black marker that the ink had not got to yet, but it was white and it shook white paint all over me. I know, it's a bit bad. It's on my left hand too.
Just tell people you've been doing construction work before you got here.
Yeah, well, my dad owns a construction company, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm not. He's hard as nails. I'm soft as whatever not nails is.
Okay, I'm Jarrett Frazier here with TV62, here interviewing Bo Burnham.
Woo!
Bo,
TV62, man.
Yeah, thanks for meeting with us today.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
How's it feel to be back in North Carolina?
Good, man. Good. I've been here a few times. Flew into Asheville. Recognized the airport. Real nice.
Not much to recognize.
Saw Santa Claus. What's Santa Claus Land? Santa Land?
Santa Land?
What is that?
It's over in Cherokee, just Santa Land.
But what does that entail? Santa Land.
It's got roller coasters,
and
reindeer.
Reindeer?
Yeah.
Man, I'm all over it. A zoo, right? A zoo, too.
Yeah.
What kind of animals?
Probably bears, tigers, I don't know.
Yeah, they have big
Sorry,
tigers,
you're supposed to be asking questions.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, because I know you performed at UNCA and Chapel Hill before, and
Yeah, definitely.
So how's things been going? I know you got a new CD out.
Good, man. Yeah. The CD came out a while ago, a little bit, and then yeah, been good. I haven't been on the road much, but yeah, it's been good to get back out and do a few colleges. They've been fun. This one should be good. The theater's beautiful, really beautiful.
Now, do you like doing colleges more than other things, or?
No, it's different. I mean, like, I like doing my own shows that are like just in like a little rock club or something. Those are fun, but colleges are fun because they can be a little bit looser, and I don't know. They're definitely the wild card of shows. Some college shows, it's like I'm in a basement of a cafeteria playing on like a tiny little dinky stage. But like, and then some nights I get a theater like this that's just beautiful, the beautiful sound system and beautiful piano. So you never know, but I do know that this one will be good. At least it'll look good and sound good.
Yeah.
People can boo and throw things, but I'll be happy because I have a nice piano to sit on.
Now, has that ever happened to people boo or throw things or get upset at free stuff?
I don't know. Not really. Definitely not as much as people would ever think. No, not really. I've had people, like one group of people protested on like one of the first shows I did when I was 18. But it was like a silly thing where they like misquoted lyrics, and it was just sort of like kids wanting to fight the system and confused me for the man when I was actually just a boy. Rather than fight the man or fight a boy, whichever you prefer.
Gotcha. Because I wondered about that. Some of your songs can be seen as offensive.
Yeah, I mean, I think the older stuff was just, and I find them offensive just in the fact that they kind of leaned on offensive stuff as a crutch. Like, that's sort of just weak comically. But I always thought that I was very aware that I was being ironic and if not fully satirical, at least a little bit ironic. I didn't believe it. I mean, the whole sort of joke is that it was, oh my God, I can't believe this little kid is saying that, which I understand not liking that because it's maybe a little bit hack, but to honestly be offended by that when there are such terrible things happening in the world, it's like you got your priorities mixed up. If the little 16-year-old kid with an acoustic guitar is your, top of your list.
True. Now, you mentioned kind of being a comic. Do you get treated different because your act is different than regular classic comedians and whatnot?
Yeah, it's a
I know
little
you kind of
weird.
touch on that too.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, I don't do clubs very often. Like, I don't go work up my material in clubs because it's really hard. Because like my new material is a lot of like backing tracks, and it's sort of been written for big rooms. It's trying to seem like a big thing, so it's hard for me to do it in clubs that don't have a good sound system or anything. But no, I mean, as far as by other comics have been really across the board just incredibly, incredibly nice to me, and I would expect them to be. I would be horrible to myself if I was like a dude who worked hard for 15 years. Some little 18-year-old, now 21-year-old shithead comes along. I would hate him. So, but I've been very surprised that everyone's been incredibly nice and helpful, and really have given me really good advice and. But I think they know that at the end of the day, I am a huge comedy. Even though might be doing something that's a little weird, I am a huge stand-up comedy fan, and I think I'm pretty well educated in what stand-up comedy is, and I respect it a lot. I'm just trying to, make it a little more theatrical. But I don't think it's like I don't think I'm representing the death of stand-up comedy. I think it's just like another little way that it can be presented.
You're kind of your own. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it still has its ground. I mean, I still, spend a long time writing jokes and hashing out topics and stuff. So really, I feel like I'm more similar to a regular comic than people would think.
Gotcha.
Maybe on the surface.
Now you mentioned you just turned 21.
Mm.
Now what did you do for your 21st birthday?
I was at home. I had 2 friends over for some cake. Everyone was at college, so I had 2 friends over for some cake. And then at like 11, I went to some little divey bar and had like a beer, and then like went back. It was It was nice. It was incredibly sad. Originally, it was going to be like, "Oh, I have a show in Vegas. I'm going to play a show in Vegas." And I was like, "I'm tired. I'm just going to sit at home and eat some cake." And but yeah, I've never been a big birthday guy. But yeah, maybe 20, maybe 22 will be good. You brought back such terrible memories. The interview has been plummeted.
Well, you kind of touched one thing about college. Whenever you turned 18, you didn't go to college.
Right.
How did that affect you?
It was weird. I mean, at first, it was like I was like alone in Ramada Inn in South Dakota, like on Facebook, watching all my friends like partying with all their friends and having the time of their life, and I'm alone. And some, they're like, "Oh man, you're living the life," and I'm like, "I promise you, I'm not." And like that turned me into like I was sort of angry, and like I would end up dismissing college kids, like, "That's so stupid. I'm so glad I didn't do it." When I was really just angry that I didn't have that group of friends to have with. So that was hard, but yeah, I think I've become better with reaching out to people so that I can maintain sort of it's hard to maintain a social circle when you're traveling all the time. But
was some of that hard to get used to being?
Yeah, it is. And I'm not used to it, and I'm like, I don't want to stay on the road my whole life. Like I don't think it's healthy. I don't think I should get used to being alone. I don't think that's a good thing for me to get used to. But yeah, it was definitely a weird adjustment. It still feels like a weird adjustment. And now that I would have been a senior, it's so weird to think that it's gone now, that the 4 years are gone. Now I'm, come spring, I will have fully been out of college for as long time, or out of schools for as long as I was in high school, which is really, really weird. But yeah, I don't know. But now I can't imagine being in a class anymore. But I would love to go back to school at one point and, sharpen my wits again.
Well, you seem pretty sharp already.
Well, I remember I was playing, I don't know if it was 301 or 501 we might have been playing. I was playing with my friend Christian. We were playing darts. What is it, 501 or 301 that you play where you count down? Either way, anyway. 501, yeah, it's 501. We were playing, and I was pretty good at math. I got like a good math. I was always a math kid that was really good at math. And I was like having problems subtracting simple numbers from each other, and I was like, I need to go back to school. I think I feel like an old man, like buying groceries or something, not knowing how to do anything. But yeah, that's what I like to go back and maybe study some English or maybe some like music theory, because I really know nothing about that, or some like some math or some poetry, or I would like to physics, or just like just learn some stuff, because I've become very specialized, very young. That's why in my act I try to incorporate a bunch of different topics.
You're saying all these different things, and they're all kind of indirect as well.
Yeah, I want to try. I feel like if I take a poetry class, then I can put poetry in my act. If I take a physics class, I can put physics in my act. Like
So at least just go for the liberal studies.
Yeah, right. Well, that's my high school. That's why because I wrote my act in high school, so that's why I was referencing all these things when I first started. Like all these, Oedipus and all this crap, is because I was learning about that. And like you're actually as widely educated usually right out of high school as you'll ever be. Well, hopefully not, but for the most part, that's what I feel.
Now, you mentioned kind of being alone on the road. Do you have anyone? Are you in any relationship or anything?
Yes, I've had a girlfriend for 5 years. So I've had a girlfriend before
that's
any
of this
difficult, any of this started. Yeah, it's difficult. But we started going out. We in high school when we were an hour away from each other in town. So we kind of like did the minor league version of long distance before we moved on to it. But a way harder version would be, I don't know, being single, going around. I don't know. None of that really appeals to me in any sort of way. But being a long distance girl with a girlfriend is as difficult as any part of the lifestyle of maintaining friends or seeing my family or even having any concept of home or time or space. So yeah, I just can't imagine it any other way really, which is strange. But yeah, it's all sort of difficult. But I'm very lucky in so many other areas that I can't really complain about that stuff. No. I get to see her like for a week, a month or so it's good.
So a full week out of the month?
Yeah, we make an effort. She's in New York City, so I usually need to be there for a couple reasons. So.
Now you kind of mentioned your family. You still pretty close to your family?
Yeah, pretty close.
I know
and they live below me in their
the one
house.
Song, My Family Thinks I'm Gay.
Right.
There was some controversy about that. Do they really or not?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
some people thought so.
Yeah, well, people think that's the controversy. If you think it's a controversy, it's sort of. It's not like who gives a shit if they think I'm gay or not. That was sort of the thing. People were like, ooh, oh my god, and I was like, well, that's sort of the whole joke is I didn't really give a shit whether they thought I was gay or not, and they didn't really give a shit if they thought I was gay or not. And I think the 5 years with the girlfriend has sort of helped that case in one direction, but I don't want to resolve it. I think it's nice to keep the people guessing. If I've learned anything from all those tabloid, hollow, scarecrow celebrities who hawk their personal lives around like Girl Scout cookies.
Well, what would you say to college students right now?
Fuck you! What do you mean, about what?
Well, I mean, here we are paying to get the 4 years, and you've gone out and made money yourself without the 4 years.
Yeah, well, what I would say is, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to pretend like I'm in any position to give anybody really advice about anything. I would say, like, I don't know if there's any advice. It'd be, I don't know, just, I guess, work hard and like, do what you like if you can. But I don't know, I mean, like, the choices in the economy are so very difficult. But, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could give it. I just feel, I'm trying to think of any advice that's popping in my head. I feel like I'm a douchebag for giving. Like, who the hell am I to like some kid that's pre-med is like, tell your dick jokes. Let me live my life. And I would say, listen to yourself. Look in the mirror. Listen to that guy. Because I'll be standing behind you in the mirror. And listen to me.
So either way, you like the position you've taken, and
oh yeah, I definitely wouldn't trade it. But it was a risk, and maybe a stupid one, but it's never a risk to do. I would have been happy if I was playing for 20 people a night, and doing my act. Like that's the choice I made, and that's I think that's the most important thing is to like, decide what you're doing it for, and try to, if you're going to want to be like. Trying to be successful, all that crap is so like it's out of my hands whether I'm popular or not. I can't control that. The only thing I can control is my act, and that's where I try to derive all my happiness from. Is the things I can control, like my act. And if you try to derive your happiness from being popular or famous or any of that shit, you're never going to be happy. Or you may be happy, but you've put your happiness in the lottery, really, because it's so out of your hands and so random and so stupid and so. Fickle.
That's pretty good advice right there.
Yeah. But then again, what do I know? And if you're a doctor, that doesn't ever really come into play because you're probably good. But if you're a doctor, don't try to derive money from the paycheck. Derive it from that smile on that patient's face. That beautiful smile of that girl who once had a cleft lip and now she smiles fully at you.
I think that pretty much sums it up.
That's how we wrap it up. Perfect.
Yeah, that's a pretty good wrap up right there. So, Bo, thank you very much.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here. Go catamounts. I don't know what those are. What's a catamount? It's a small portion of cats.
Yeah, I think that's good.